If there's one thing I always believed, it's that technology doesn't lie, people do. And that's exactly how I found out my wife, Lauren, was cheating on me. It wasn't a suspicious text message or a late-night phone call. It wasn't lipstick on a shirt or a sudden change in attitude. It was her Tesla. I was in the garage one evening, going through the car's infotainment system to check the battery charge. That's when I saw it, the route history in the auto navigator. A location I didn't recognize. A small house on the outskirts of town, visited repeatedly over the last few weeks. Always at night. My stomach twisted. Lauren had no family out there. No work meetings. No reason at all to be in that part of the city. Unless she was meeting someone. I stared at the screen, my pulse hammering in my ears. I needed proof. And I was going to get it. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I started watching. Lauren always claimed to be busy with work. She was a marketing director, late meetings, networking events, dinners with clients. It never seemed out of place. But now I knew better. I checked the Tesla logs every night. The pattern was clear. 2 or 3 times a week, she'd drive to that same address, stay for an hour or two, then come home like nothing happened. I felt sick. I wasn't just losing my wife. I had already lost her. And she thought I was too stupid to notice. A week later, I followed her. She left at 8:30 p.m., same as always, dressed just a little too nice for work dinner. I waited 5 minutes, then got in my truck and tailed her. She drove straight to that house. A modest, one-story place with a well-kept yard. A car was already parked in the driveway. A black BMW. I gritted my teeth. The porch light flickered on. A man stepped out. Tall. Clean-cut. Wearing the kind of casual confidence that made my blood boil. Lauren got out of the Tesla. She smiled at him. And then she kissed him. Right there in the open. I took my phone out, snapped a picture, and drove away. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. I couldn't sleep that night. I laid in bed, staring at the ceiling while Lauren showered, the same shower she used after being with him. When she climbed into bed beside me, I turned my back to her. I could feel her breathing. Soft. Even. Peaceful. She had no idea that everything was about to come crashing down. The next morning, I started digging. First, I ran the plates on the BMW. Tyler Matthews. 36 years old. A real estate broker. Married. Of course. These things never happened in isolation. I scrolled through his company's website. His wife's photo was right there, a pretty blonde with 2 kids. He was risking his entire life for my wife. My vision blurred with rage. I wasn't going to just destroy Lauren. I was going to burn both of their lives to the ground. That night, I tested her. Lauren came home late again, smiling, her eyes bright. How was work? I asked. She kissed my cheek like nothing was wrong. Exhausting. Long meetings. I smiled back, forcing myself to stay calm. You must be starving. She sat at the table, scrolling on her phone while I served her dinner. I could eat a horse. I gripped the knife a little too tight. She was lying to my face. The woman I loved, the woman I had built a life with, was playing me for a fool. I was done playing. The next day, I made my move. I created a new Instagram account. Anonymous. Private. No name, no face. And then I started uploading. Picture after picture. Lauren and Tyler kissing in front of his house. Lauren sneaking into the Tesla after a night with him. Lauren's route history, showing every secret trip. I wrote detailed captions under each photo. Wife of the year. Think again. Business meetings? More like backseat meetings. Smile for the camera. Cheaters. I followed everyone she knew. Friends, coworkers, her boss. I followed Tyler's wife. And then I waited. Lauren's phone buzzed at dinner. She picked it up, smiling until her face drained of color. Her hand trembled as she scrolled. What the hell, eh? I sipped my drink. Something wrong, babe? She looked up at me, her eyes wide with panic. Did you post something? I raised an eyebrow. Post what? Her breath hitched. Michael. I leaned forward. I know. She flinched like I had struck her. I smiled, slow and cold. I know everything. Tears welled in her eyes. It's not what you think. I let out a sharp laugh. It's exactly what I think. She opened her mouth, but her phone exploded with notifications. Calls. Messages. She stared at the screen in horror. Oh my God, she whispered. I set down my fork. You should probably check your Instagram. She did. And then she started screaming. I walked upstairs while Lauren sat at the table, sobbing. Her perfect life was unraveling. thread by thread. And I wasn't done. Not even close. The next morning, I got a call. It was Tyler's wife. She didn't even introduce herself. I saw the pictures, she said, her voice shaking. I want to meet. I smiled. So do I. When Lauren woke up, her world was already in flames. Her boss had seen the Instagram posts. She was fired. Her friends were texting, horrified. They all knew. And Tyler? His wife threw him out. Everything she thought she was getting away with was now public knowledge. She tried to talk to me, but I was done listening. I packed her bags for her. I'll give you until noon, I said. Then I changed the locks. She stood in the doorway, broken. Michael, please. I met her eyes. You did this to yourself. She let out a choked sob. And then she walked out. She thought she could lie. She thought she could cheat. She thought she could get away with it. But she forgot one thing. Technology never lies. And neither does revenge. Lauren's life collapsed in a single night. She had nowhere to go. Her phone wouldn't stop ringing, friends demanding explanations, her boss cutting ties, Tyler refusing to answer. She was a woman drowning in her own sins, gasping for air, reaching for anything to hold on to. And there was nothing. She tried to talk to me. Begged, sobbed, dropped to her knees in the living room, clutching my hand like she still had a right to touch me. Michael, please. I made a mistake. I pulled my hand away. No, Lauren. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. A mistake is saying something you don't mean. You made a choice. Over and over again. Her lip trembled. I love you. I laughed. A sharp, hollow sound. You love me? That's funny. I didn't see any love in those messages. In those kisses. In those nights with him. Tears streaked her face. I have nothing left. I leaned in, voice low. Good. Her shoulders shook as she grabbed her suitcase. The same woman who once looked at me with warmth and admiration now looked at me like I was a stranger. She hesitated at the door, staring back like she wanted me to stop her. I didn't. She stepped outside. And just like that, she was gone. No job, no home, no reputation. Just a cautionary tale, a whisper among our old friends, a lesson in betrayal and consequence. I watched from the window as she disappeared down the street, dragging her suitcase behind her like a ghost of the life she had destroyed. She thought she could lie to me. She thought she could cheat and walk away unscathed.